Thank you for joining us. My name is BJ Murphy, publisher of Neuse and Neuse.com, and we're hosting a series of candidate interviews for the 2020 general election, which will be on Tuesday, November 3rd. Make sure that you know that early voting begins on October 15th and lasts through October 31st. And also, as I said a while ago, the general election is on Tuesday, November 3rd. But if you'll go ahead and bookmark your calendars for Tuesday, November 3rd at 7:30 p.m. right here on Facebook Live, the Neuse team will bring you the Facebook Live Election Night Results Show, 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, November 3rd. I believe this is the fifth or sixth time we've done that. It's been a lot of fun. But today we are joined by June Cummings. She is a county commissioner running to retain her seat. Thank you, June, for coming today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
So let's jump right into it. Tell us about you. Why you're running for office?
Well, as you probably know, I was appointed to complete the term of Mr. Reuben Davis, who was a dear friend of mine. And when he passed, I was both honored and privileged to be able to accept that appointment, which would have expired. He would have been running again in November himself. So I've been on that seat, but actually I'm running for the District 3 seat, which Craig Hill currently has, and Craig's not running again. As you know, he's working with the chamber, and so he's moving forward, and I'm just excited about the opportunity. As you know, I've had a career of public service. Both my careers, in fact, both with mental health as director there for 20 years and then with the United Way for 17 years. But I've also served on Social Services Board, and now I'm on the LCC Board of Trustees and the Hospital Foundation. And so I have been engaged in this community my whole life. I'm especially interested in education. Excuse me. I see that as the economic engine for our community, particularly our community college. It helps us develop a trained workforce. Mm-hmm. So when we're recruiting industry and business, that we've got it covered through our community college. So that's very important to me. I've also worked with the Emergency Management Office on numerous occasions. Every hurricane, I would be down there working on referral for people in need, and so that they're very dear to my heart. Mm-hmm. So, and I was able to support them in the effort to get new communications equipment, new radios this year by serving on the board.
Well, let's go right into, you mentioned like the hurricanes, emergency services. Let's think about we're still in hurricane season. I know it's general election season as well, but when we think about the flooding that's happened in our community over the years, tell us about what you think the county's role is as it relates to maybe flood mitigation.
Excuse me, I have allergies this time of year. I'm not sick, but I know there's a collaborative effort going on between our state senator, representative, and our city and county government to try to look at mitigation, particularly for the flash flooding that occurs in many communities in our city, but also in our county. So they're working to look at ways to deal with the flooding ahead of time, try to keep it under control. That is very much a role of county government. Of course, we have soil and water conservation that we fund, but they're working with all of the partners that can make a difference in keeping that under control. So.
And you talked a little bit about just a while ago about economic growth. What do you see as your plan or your vision for economic growth, or how can you help impact economic growth in Lenoir County?
Oh, well, again, by supporting education, I think is the number one way to do that. Having served on the Board of Trustees, I see the direct linkage between the services, the programs they're able to offer, not only for training skilled workers in the areas of aviation or things like that, but training truck drivers, training welders who can make a lot of money, I'm finding out. Mm-hmm. And so there's so many opportunities through the community colleges, and we have to look at supporting them as much as possible, but we're looking at doing it regionally as well. And so that's with our new economic development program with the Global Transport, we're moving forward. Lenoir County is way ahead of the game, even though it doesn't always look like it to some folks. We're making the most of our resources now that I've seen in many years, and I'm proud to be a part of it. We do have a strategic plan that's related to economic development. I appreciate any votes that will help me continue to work on that as well.
Let's talk to a question that's a little bit deeper into the budget related to the county, and that involves the hiring and retention, specifically at the Sheriff's Department and the jail. Give us your thoughts on how to help solve that.
We recently had a study, a salary and benefits or compensation package study, and we were prepared, I think, as a county to move forward on that, and then COVID came along, and it impacted our revenues significantly, and everybody realized we needed to see the full implications of this virus on our economy before we move forward implementing the results of that study. We have to do it at some point if it means realigning some of our resources. And so, again, that's going to take more study at this point when we look at what our revenues are going to look like after this economic hit we've taken.
All right. And tell us a little bit about, as we think about the COVID and we think about education, let's talk about some of the kids who've been home that didn't have internet, and a little bit more on the rural side of our community that don't have access to rural broadband internet. Give us your thoughts on that.
That was something that we looked at early on. We assigned a committee. Mr. McDoherty is chairing that group. They're looking at broadband access throughout the county. And I didn't hear at our last meeting what the status is, but I know that they're looking at where students can access broadband. They can access internet at different locations. It may not be in their home because, again, you're looking at the cost of that. I know there are people who are getting hotspots out to them, and they're monitoring where the gaps exist in that. So.
All right. Well, give everybody just kind of a closing statement on why they should vote for you, how they could reach out to you. Just some final thoughts from you as a candidate.
I will share with you one of the things I've been proudest of in my career, if I may. At Hurricane Matthew, Roger Dale, who was the emergency management director, called me down to the Emergency Operations Center, asked me to work on hurricane recovery, and we established an organization, speaking of flooding, called CARE, Kinston Area Recovery Efforts. And so I got to work really, really closely with those folks in emergency management, came to love them all. They were the ones who came when I called 911 that December of 2016. And so these people are dear to my heart. But we will be continuing to work with CARE. And in fact, we met last week. I'm still on that board to mitigate the damages related to hurricanes. And so that'll be continuing to be in one of my things that I've worked hard on. The other part is I'm a good grandmother. I got 8 grandchildren. I'm a member of the Presbyterian Church, and before COVID, I sang in the choir. And I love Lenoir County, and it's been pretty apparent throughout my career. And I think a lot of people know me just from the things I've done to the investment of my time and energy. And as my husband used to say, the only reason I worked was to give it all away, which wasn't true. But both my time, my money, and my energy to this community. So, and I'm good at this. Right. That's the bottom line. Vote for me. I'm really good at this.
All right. Well, thank you, June. Appreciate your willingness to serve our community and also to run for office as well. And also thank you for everyone who's watching at home. I appreciate what you're doing just to try to educate yourself and also educate your family and friends. So please tag a friend, share the video, like the video, make a comment, so everybody else in your network can also hear what Ms. June Cummings had to say today. Also, please remember to bookmark Tuesday, November 3rd, which is General Election Day, but that night at 7:30 p.m. as the polls close, Neuse, our entire team here will go live right on Facebook to bring you our election night results show. And I want to say a special thank you to all of our sponsors helping to make that possible. Early voting begins on October 15th, lasts through 10/31. And make sure you go to neusenews.com. We have a free daily newsletter, all the day's top headlines for free for you. Just go to neusenews.com, click on subscribe. And also, if you want our breaking news text alert, all you have to do is text the keyword NN to 484848, and you'll receive our breaking news text alerts, which are also free. Again, thank you, June Cummings.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. And also, thank you to everybody watching. Stay tuned for more from the Neuse News team.